What's good, people? My name's Ethan and I'm a property entrepreneur based in South London. Now today we're talking all things project management. Now if you would have seen my last video, you would have seen I walked you guys through a client project the business is currently undertaking, and we're providing them a hands-free, stress-free service. Now today we're going to be telling you about the stresses that we've been able to take on for them and how we've been able to overcome the challenges during this project. So we're week 3 into this project. I'd say a good 50% in, and we've made some really good progress. So I'm going to talk you guys through what we've done so far and what's next on the schedule. So let's start off with the kitchen. As you can see, it's been completely stripped out. And the first thing you want to be doing after you've completed the strip out is your first fix electrics. When we're talking about first fixing, we're talking about the preparation of the cables and the electrical cables around the whole property in order to place, where you're going to put your sockets and things like that. Usually what happens is there's a lot of chasing that goes on, and you want to get this done first. And mainly you want to get this done first is that, when you bring in your decorator, they can go over these bits and plaster all over these bits so that you can't see this cable. Or if you don't want to use any trunking, because obviously you could do it on the surface and you'd have like some boxing going across, but we don't really like to go for that look. We like to chase it in so that the plaster can come over it and it all looks nice and smooth. In this room here, all we had to do was minimal electrics. So we added the isolator switches for the oven and hob. And then we've got the plug sockets for the fridge, freezer, and the washing machine. And also what you want to be doing after the first fix electrics is you want to be doing the first fix plumbing. And on this floor in here, this is Durabase. So we've put this, it's like an extra protection membrane so that you can tile on top of this. So the thing is with this property, as the client is looking to keep this as a rental property, we want to be able to do it to a standard where it's as durable as possible. And we're not coming back here being called to the building to talk about, any leaks that's gone into the flat below. So that's the key thing. You don't want to be cutting corners with rental properties. You don't want to be cutting corners at all, but taking extra precaution and putting these things down for rental properties will save you the money in the long run. Now, heading over into the front room. In this room, minimal work is needed to be done here, especially with what we're working with. So what we've done in here is we've just kind of kept it as a base and just stored a lot of our material in here. So key thing to when project managing is making sure you have your materials on site. So we've already got all our paint here on site. We've got our second fixtures here. This is our kitchen worktop there. It's having everything on site so that when you have contractors coming in, that they can go straight to work. Because what you don't want to be doing is bringing in skilled laborers to then end up moving things about and wasting time, not actually doing work, but just moving things about. So nothing much has gone on here. All that's happened is we've removed the flooring, because you would have remembered we had laminate flooring in here. But we've removed the flooring and we started skim the ceiling to get rid of the textured ceiling in here. So now this is looking nice and smooth, and it's been drying up really quickly. So this can get its first primer and undercoat and start getting painted. And this light fixture, don't worry guys, this is not staying. We just kept it there just to ensure that, we have light in the property. But yes, that will definitely be changed. And you're wondering, why did we not fix it when the electrician was here? That bit is part of the second fix. In the corridor, we have actually changed the consumer unit. From the last one, we had a very old consumer unit, and now we've got a nice, fresh consumer unit. And it's all labeled so we know exactly what is going on, which is good. Now in the bedroom, this has been completely stripped and the ceiling has already been skinned, so that's all smoothened out. And again, these wall heaters will be changed. So we're gonna get a new wall heater and we're gonna move the position. So this will now be underneath windowsill. So yeah, so this room here, gonna start fixing the walls, and then it's gonna get its first coat of paint on within the next few days. So the key with carpet in rental property is actually to get the thicker underlay and cheaper carpet on top. So that helps the carpet actually last a lot longer, especially when you've got tenants moving in and out every couple of years. You don't want to be changed, and if you need to change the carpet, you can keep the underlay on underneath. Because if you need to keep on changing the carpet, you can then keep the underlay underneath and use a much cheaper carpet on top, and it provides the same effect. which is a trick. Now moving on into the second room. These rooms are kind of like the same identical sort of thing. This room is slightly bigger again, and yeah, we're just using it as a bit of storage because this bath is about to go in. Same thing in here, don't worry. This light will be getting changed. But funny thing is, when you're looking at these projects, you never actually know what's really going on until the strip out is completed, and you never know what you're dealing with. Because funny enough, we thought this was all paper, and it was actually, this was paint, and that wall was paper, and this wall was all paper. It was, yeah, it was quite strange, but don't worry, we dealt with it. So this is actually the wall. So that is just gonna see a few coats of white paint, and it's gonna look all nice and smooth with the other walls. Now, onto the bathroom. This bathroom that's caused so much problems, and we've taken all the stress on behalf of our precious client. I'm gonna try and get up some snapshots of what this bathroom actually looked like before. So essentially, this whole subfloor will have to be redone. So this is a whole complete new subfloor. We've had to put like 18mm plywood on top alongside 12mm plywood. Like, it's been a long one because essentially the floor underneath was completely rotten. And we didn't know this until, you know, we started stripping, and there was like layers and layers and layers of just rotten wood. Same with the walls as well. That gave us a lot of stress. Yeah, so we had to strip 2 layers of tiles on these walls, and that was all the way around here. So this tile was all the way there, all the way here, and it was all double layered. And you may think that, okay, it's just extra work, but then again, you also need to consider your waste, because this adds all into the cost of the project. And when you've already quoted the client the labor costs, it may be extra days, but now you've got extra costs of having to remove the waste from the project. So you now need to know how you're going to balance it out in other areas. So it gets really tricky, but these are conversations you need to be having with your client and being as transparent as possible. So we took pictures to like explain to them what we've been able to uncover, because these are things that we wouldn't have seen until the strip was fully completed. But now we've been able to rectify the problem. The floor is fully sealed, and we're going with Durabase underneath again to, you know, make sure the flooring's got that extra protection, and we are not being called out for no leaks. I know for sure that we're not going to put our names to any half-hearted business, so making sure that we know we've given the flooring this extra protection. So you got your first fix electrics, and you got your first fix plumbing. So this, in this bathroom here, you can see is the first fix plumbing. So that is the preparing where all the piping is going to go and all the waste is going to go. So in this room, we haven't done much movement in terms of, you know, location, but in positioning, we've changed it slightly. So this shower, we've just put the pipe coming through here. It's an electric shower that was here before, but we've just centralized it more. So we've placed the shower so it's coming directly in the middle of the bath. Previously it was to the left a bit, but we put it in the center so that it's within the shower screen and there's no water like overflowing that can cause extra damage to the flooring. And we've moved the waste, the water waste of the bath is now on this side instead of this side. So it was a bit weird before. So you had your shower on this side, but then the waste was going down here. So we've just made it so that it goes straight down here. Obviously, you need to use your moisture resistant boards. These are moisture plaster boards, and we've been able to use that all across here, and we've boxed it up very nicely. Shout out to my carpenter, and created this nice shelving here that's going to be tiled. So as we were uncovering the problems, we realized that extra material would need to be bought. And, you know, knowing that the client was quite strict on their budget, this is where it comes in handy to know how to manage a budget and where you can do extra things but within the same budget. So the first thing that we thought to do is, instead of having full tiles all around the bathroom and like having half height, we've decided to opt for tiles just on this side. So that is to protect the wall from the shower. So now we're going to tile along all the way here. So that will be full height. But then on this side, we're going to paint it, and then we're just going to tile here. Because of the tile choice, it's still going to have the same effect and it's still going to look modern. But because of the increased materials that we've had to purchase to, you know, rectify the problem, we have to, you know, you have to look for other ways of where you can save on material costs. Because the key thing here, guys, is to remember is that labor cost does not get any cheaper. And I have to turn around to let you guys know, look at the camera and tell you that labor is not cheap. cheap, and looking for cheap labor is where you go wrong when projects managing a refurb. You don't want to always go with the cheapest labor, because that is where you will run into problems and you will end up paying for it twice. Where you essentially want to be saving your money and saving costs in a refurb is on your materials. That is the key thing. It's being able to take time to source materials, to make sure that you're getting a good bargain, good rates, making sure you're getting all the trade discounts, any special offers that's going on, and yeah, just making sure you're getting discount. Position of the bathroom will stay the same. So you're going to have your bath there, shower there. Here we're going to have our toilet. That is the waste for the toilet. And then we're going to have a vanity unit here. And then we're going to have our large mirror here. And then we're going to have our large mirror here. So on this wall, it can literally just be glued straight on top of that. This wall will be fixed. Going to get our wall fixer to come in, fix this wall, so then this can all just be painted. So it's looking real good. And this will all be painted. The next person to come in here will be just the plumber to fit the bathroom in. We're actually currently having some supply issues with the legs. So as soon as that comes in, they're gonna fit the legs. And then the tiler will be able to come and literally just tile the floor and start tiling this wall as well, alongside the kitchen wall as well. So it's very key in projects like this is to make sure that you know who is coming in at the right time, because what you don't want to do is calling back trades back into the property to do jobs that will only take them half a day, but they're still charging you a whole day rate. So you kind of want the work to build up and you want to schedule it at the right time so that they can all come in. So once you've done your first fix electrics, first fix plumbing, that's when you can start bringing your carpenter inside, maybe to do all the carpentry to get things ready. So even with the bathroom, what I've realized is that the carpenter is actually the person that spends the most time on site. So the carpenter is who does all of this work here. So they do the boxing, they did the flooring, and just anything that needs to, requires woodwork. Then you can start getting your tiler in, and then your decorator in to kind of make good of all the walls so that that can be prepared for painting later on. And then lastly, what we like to do last is the flooring. So the flooring is what usually goes in last. So the carpets will go in last and the laminate flooring will go in last. We want to make sure we've done all the making good of the walls first. Even if you are to cover it, it just makes it a lot easier when working with the walls and you're not having to worry about, brand new laminate, bringing paint, spilling everywhere or spilling on the carpet. So the decorators and the contractors will have a bit more freedom on site to work, and then we just do the carpet fits and the flooring at the end. And if you are moving anything in the property or doing significant works, you also want to make sure you're informing building control. Now, building control is like a governing body that come out to make sure that the work that's been carried out has been carried out to the UK minimum regulations and it's been done to a very safe standard. So you definitely want to inform them, and you usually need to inform them 5 days before starting work. So you're not allowed to do any works until you've actually started until you've actually informed building control. In this case, we haven't had to inform building control, mainly because we're not doing anything major. We're keeping everything in the same location, but what we will require is a new certificate from our electrician to sign off the works as they've changed the consumer unit. Everything else is fine, as we are not installing a new boiler or anything, so we are good for this project. That is something you definitely need to consider, because not getting the sign off from building control, especially when you've done so much work to a property, can be such a pain. Or in fact, even if you decided to start works without informing building control and they come onto site and they've realized that you haven't done something to the correct standard, you don't want to have to undo work, so that will cost you twice. You've done a whole nice kitchen, but you've located something not in the right place and you're having to rip it all off, and you're just wasting money on a brand new kitchen where you're going to have to redo. So you don't want to do anything. So make sure that if you are doing significant works like an extension or moving anything about, or even like relocating a kitchen or changing the windows or something like that, you do want to make sure you are informing building control so you can get the sign off, because without that sign off, you can't do things like refinance or even sell your property. So those are things to consider. Right guys, that is me for today. So I hope you guys got some tips and some things to consider when project managing your own refurb or a client refurb. And I'm going to be talking you guys through much more in my next video, on my next update, when hopefully this should be complete. So I'm saying give or take another 2 weeks. So I think the last time I came here is the 19th and now it's the 12th. So we've only been here for 3 weeks. So I'm thinking another 3 weeks and we should be out of here. So stay tuned for the final review of this project. And if you want to be updated on a daily basis, make sure you're following me on Instagram at EthanXHammond, and check out my website where I'm releasing a lot of free information, and I have a mail list where I'm giving out free gems every week. So check that out on ethanhammonds.co.uk. But for now, make sure you like, comment and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video.